Welcome to the show for our last wrap of ANZ Championship round robin action that saw the Steel fall again to the Pulse in what was a disappointing end to the season for the Southern franchise. While the Central-based side enjoyed their best year ever despite missing the playoffs, and that's because in other results both the Vixens and Magic enjoyed emphatic wins. The Thunderbirds had a narrow victory despite not having to win at all, and the Swifts also finished on a high after many a low.
I thought the girls concentrated well, they kept their composure and they showed a lot of patience, and they certainly deserved that margin. I would have been disappointed if it had been anything less, because I just thought they played really well.
They rallied a couple of times, Donna, but did you ever feel under threat?
Yeah, there were a couple of times where they had a bit of a run at us, and I think we showed a lot of strength in our character to, they got about 3 or 4 in a row and then we fought back, so the margin was still a decent amount going into half time, and they had a sort of a mini run I think in every quarter, but I knew with 5 minutes to go that if we just scored off our own ball, we had the game, and that's what it was about. So it was a very mental battle out there.
You looked a lot more up for it than they did, I thought, Robin, just more energised.
Yeah, I think there's probably, we were lucky with the energy, as we had a few players that had been struck down with the stomach bug, but that beside that, we'd structured our defensive play, and we had talked of structure and game plan at length, and certainly in that first 2 quarters they stuck to it, and then we went off it a bit, but we came back into it. So. And some of them made good decisions on the court as to what to do and when there was a need to change up or change down. So, yeah, I was really proud of the way I thought they played a very mature game.
And Donna, you know how important it is to take the crowd out of it, and by winning that first quarter so convincingly, you did exactly that.
Yeah, we did, and we won that quarter by 7, so that's a huge margin when they can score in 3 or 4 seconds. So to be up 17-10 was a huge positive for us, and the good thing is we maintained that margin throughout the game and didn't let them have a sniff and getting closer than that. So. Yeah, it was good, and as Robin said, it was mainly down to our game plan, our defensive structure. Like, we needed on attack to pick up some ball and not just rely on those circle Ds to get it, although they got some great ball in there as well.
Huge number of turnovers in your favour.
Yes, I thought we did. I thought we caused them to make mistakes. I think they concentrated too much on probably the players, and especially in the circle, instead of hunting the ball. They were too close to their players, so that suited us. And we managed to pick up any scraps and loose balls that came from that. And these 2 shooters, both Donna and Caitlin, they withstood all that first, hard-on man-to-man structure that was being played in the circle. It's not pretty to watch, but we got there.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
It's a tribute to the team culture, I suppose. It's going to be cliche, but that Caitlin stood down last week, come in, and then back in action as if she'd never been away.
Yeah, like at this elite level, you've got to take your opportunities, and I think it was exciting for Paula. She'd been training really hard last week, and gosh, she came out and 50 from 58 last week, and I could just turn and biff of the ball, so it was quite nice, and it was good that she had that opportunity. But it also shows the strength of Caitlin's character. She trained really well this week and deserved the starting spot again, and she come out there, and she was another one of the ones that had a bit of a bug. So it showed a lot of character to come out there and do what she did tonight. I guess you'd learn how to close out games, and we did that in other games. We held the lead and closed it out. The Fever was another example. So it is very disappointing, those 2 games, because it's a bit of what could have been. But it's exciting too if most of the players come back next year. Who knows where the Pulse may finish up next year. So we've finished 5th. Maybe, possibly 4th. But for us, we're the only New Zealand team that have beaten the Steel twice, so that's a pretty good achievement. So we're pretty happy.
Yeah, we're pretty happy. It was disappointing to lose against the Mystics. That probably is my biggest disappointment. And the next one was the Magic, when we were 7 up going into the 4th quarter. So those are the sort of things that you learn the hard way. And I said right at the beginning, you can have a champion. A team of champions doesn't make a champion team, and that today sort of probably proved that we played patiently, and we didn't want to score off everything, and we weren't looking for the big sort of flashy stuff. We just thought we'd just play it controlled and composed.
This year was going to probably be it for me. I didn't come out saying this is going to be my last year, but my kids start school, Cooper starts school at the end of November, so I've got to weigh up what's best for me. It is, I guess, a bit of a draw card if some of those players come back and are in the fold again. There's a few conversations that need to happen, I guess, with a couple of those players, but I just have to have a good think. I didn't want to make any decisions before the season was out. We had 2 games that we needed to win, and we've won them now, so we'll enjoy that and enjoy the season with the girls, and then I guess I have to do a bit of thinking.
Please do. Robin, you look back at the positives of the season, it's the highest the Pulse have finished, the most wins, the highest score in a game, and the biggest crowds. It's still a pretty successful run.
Oh yeah, and it's all down to the team that we had and the type of training we were doing and the input from the people around us, and it's a really good positive place, Wellington, to play under, because their expectations aren't huge and they never think we do anything wrong.
I think if you take away the first quarter, it's pretty much even after that, so just really disappointing with the way we started and just the amount of errors we made in the first quarter versus I think the next 3 were quite tight in terms of the scoring and turnovers to both teams. So probably just really disappointing to end what it was a fantastic year, and it's really hard at the moment to see that it's been a really positive year for us, because I guess we really wanted to make the most out of obviously our Perth trip and our last trip and just really finish on a high. So disappointed, but I can see that little light at the end of the tunnel.
Do you think perhaps just lacking a little bit of zip, I thought, at the start?
Yeah, I think, we thought everyone was mentally up for it and ready to go, but we just didn't fire, and particularly in that first quarter, and I think, maybe the trip to Perth did take more out of us than we appreciated, and that's something we need to have a look from a planning perspective and know, I guess, experience for all of us. Some of us, it was the first time we've done it, so, I think, and just knowing that you've still got to play games when you come home again. Yes, really disappointed, and it's hard to, like Jodie said, it's hard to see the positives at the moment. Hopefully they'll come through in a day or two, but at the moment it hurts.
It is hard, Jodie, isn't it, just to play for pride when there's nothing else left, as much as you want to.
Yeah, I guess so. It's one of those games that you just want to kind of toss a coin and see who wins, but I think there was so much on the line tonight, and they just came out and they really wanted it more, and like you say, we just didn't really start with that zip that we normally do start with, and I think there's that fine line between what Janine said, like this is the big girls league, and we need players that are going to continuously produce week in and week out, and I think that there's probably a number of positions where I guess we've got the luck of having lots of people in our squad to cover that, but then it's really nice to have a starting 7, and I think that's probably something this year that we kind of lacked a little bit.
I see Janelle's locked in for next year. Who else?
That's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, so there's a lot of work to go on in the next couple of weeks.
So the Thunderbirds top the ladder, but that's no guarantee of championship success, as we all know. The Vixens and Magic improved their goal percentages enough to overtake the Firebirds, who complete the top 4 and extend their respective seasons. The Pulse broke franchise records all over the place, and the Steel ended 3 places higher than in 2012. The Fever were erratic, the Swifts mostly awful, and the Tactics really stretched opponents. The Mystics were a complete mystery. So much talent, so little to show for it.